bought the hotel, now the Open Beach for 5 Ways, 10 years ago. And when I came to Boscombe 10 years ago, I guess there were no other really cool or new businesses. I think we were one of the first new wave of businesses. Sorted Surf Shop was probably the only one that was in town, and it was in a different location. And in the last 10 years, I've seen a lot of change and really become heavily involved in the regeneration of Boscombe. I guess the key thing is we've invested around £2 million now opening a beautiful restaurant on the seafront and a lovely boutique hotel. And when I said I was going to open the business, particularly the hotel, the first one in Boscombe, I was considered to be insane. It was considered to be, the pit of Bournemouth, and people thought I was nuts. But it's gone really well, and I'm very grateful to the local residents. And I thought it's really important to reinvest back into Boscombe and become part of that regeneration story. Mainly just as a thank you to all of the residents and local people who've supported me on that journey. So I hope I'm helping make the town better. My kids go to school in Boscombe, I live in Boscombe, my business is in Boscombe. I'm not going anywhere for the next 10 or 20 years. And I hope to be part of that continuing journey of making Boscombe a better place. I knew that it would be Boscombe that I would try and make my home. I love it. It's close to the beach. You don't really need a car if you live in Boscombe because you can walk to the high street, you can walk to the shops. And it's a really beautiful part of the world. It's flanked by the New Forest on one side, the Purbets on the other side, and I don't think there's a better place to live really. So yeah, I love it. My first memories of Boscombe were probably about 30 years ago when it was a really thriving, bustling area, lots of hotels. Sea Road, where the Urban Beach is now, had a number of hotels down the road. And then it was very strange how it went through a period of degeneration, I suppose. And it never really made sense to me how you could have such an amazing beach and an amazing town that ended up having such a poor reputation. Boscombe's worst period was probably about 10 years ago, and for the last 10 years it has been being improved, but even with the regeneration that's been going on, there's still very much this north-south divide. You have genuine social issues north of Christchurch Road, again around the Crescent, Walpole Road, that area, where it is amongst the most deprived area of the UK. And then you have south of Christchurch Road, particularly on the seafront, where the first penthouse flat on the seafront sold for over £1 million about 6 years ago. I quite like that. I quite like where you get this eclectic kind of mix of rich and poor, because it makes for a much more diverse space and a much more interesting, eclectic kind of population. I think the residents of Boscombe are really diverse and really eclectic. There are, again, the drug addicts and the alcoholics. But actually, most people who live in Boscombe love Boscombe. There's a real genuine kind of pride and passion for the place. Just the mix of housing, the fact that Boscombe Manor, you can't get a family house for less than sort of £500,000 or £600,000. You go the other side of Christchurch Road and you can get a 4-bed house for 150 grand. You end up with this really interesting, eclectic mix of people. So I don't think you can stereotype who lives in Boscombe, but most people who live in Boscombe love it, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't get away from the fact there are genuine social problems. Some of the issues in Boscombe are very genuine: the drug use, the alcoholism, the poor quality housing, and a lot of those issues are massively complicated to fix, and it's not going to take overnight. I think for the first time in the history of Boscombe, or at least the first time for a very long time, there is now a genuine plan, but it's going to take a number of years. I think one of the key things Boscombe needs is just to have investment, really. Anybody who's opening new businesses, any kind of entrepreneurial characters who can invest money in the town, and do the place up. We've obviously had a significant impact on the seafront, and as well as our hotel on Sea Road. What that really does is it gives, hopefully, some of the local population some confidence, it provides some jobs, but a lot of people who are looking to invest in the area hopefully end up opening other restaurants or other bars or other cafes off the strength of what we've done.
My name is Lucas Giorgio. I'm the General Manager of Dentapol Limited, which is a small family-owned group of dental practices. I think it was previously a shameful phrase or a shameful association to be from Boscombe or in Boscombe or running business in Boscombe. I remember having issues and advertising for dentists stating Bournemouth and never mentioning Boscombe because people would turn away, dentists would be put off. And some still are to this day, but I think that stigma is evaporating, and that's partly from the government's efforts to improve the area, but also from the community coming together and having pride in its locality. I definitely realized that the Walpole Road and the Crescent are one of the dodgiest parts of Boscombe. When we first opened the practice inside of the Providence Surgery and called it Walpole Road Dental Practice, I was stunned at the cross-section of the local population, how drug-ridden it was, and how problematic, how deprived the local population was, and this by far was the most shocking and most difficult to run. We had fights on reception. We had people on drugs, people passing out in the waiting room. Definitely a very poor attendance pattern. So it proved to be the most time-consuming and maintenance-heavy practice. Crescent itself has definitely improved. It was known as the drug crescent, or the mere mention of it to anyone. Whenever I said we're moving to the crescent, people said that whether we're going to put bars on our doors and whether we're going to have security. Now it seems it's a pretty garden with mixed people using it, local residents. There is still, the element of depravity and drug problem hasn't been completely removed, but it's definitely less visible, and in my opinion that means that it's less numerous. On the other side, the north side of Christchurch Road, on which we sit, so we're basically 2 meters north of Christchurch Road, is where the problematic area begins. All of the drug element, all of the criminal element seems to congregate here. What sort of population lives here, and whether it's all deprived or whether there's a good mix, I would have to say it is definitely mixed. It is almost as two worlds collide and meet on both sides of Christchurch Road.
My name's Harry Seckham. I'm the owner of Chaplin's Bar and also the chairman of Boscombe Community Forum. Also, as a community forum, we bring in the neighbourhood plan. Another thing under localism is it takes about 2 years. We've just got a constitution and about 40 or 50 members. I expect there'll be about 1,000 members at some point. And it's Boscombe East and Boscombe West, and it's getting everyone together who lives in the area to vision what they want to see over the next 10 years, and put all that together as a package, and it ends up being quite a thick document, planning document, and that then it goes to referendum, so everyone in Boscombe gets to vote on it, and then that will become planning law for the next 5 to 10 years, and if it's not in the planning document, it won't get built. So you can say we want family houses, and on this bit of land we want a playground, or we want sports facilities, or we want a community centre, or doctor's surgery. We want to see HMOs turn back into housing, make things happen easier, cut through red tape by taking away some of the planning controls as well. And it's a very democratic way of doing things. The way planning generally has worked has been the council they get submitted to the council decide if it's good or not. And then usually the developer, if it doesn't like the decision, goes to an appeal court and gets to do it anyway. So there's not much control over what gets built in areas. Boscombe East and Boscombe West, and it's getting everyone together who lives in the area to vision what they want to see over the next 10 years.
My name's Hannah Cutler. I own with my husband and family friend Gareth, we own Cutler's Lounge. We've been open for a few days, so just started trading. I've lived here since I was 15, so half my life. One thing that I've noticed in recent years is that there is a real drive to make the Boscombe community a safe, nurturing, wholesome community. There's so many people around here that wish to make that happen. We all seem to be sharing a really similar vision, which I think is incredible because you notice it in the energy of Boscombe. I think police presence, a mixture of police presence and new community businesses that have opened. The area just outside our doors and down Amelia Lane has definitely changed in a positive way. There seems to have been a real sort of clean up on the streets, and I definitely feel safer at the moment. There are definitely two parts to Boscombe, and I think it's really important as as a business that is in this community, that we try to make the gap between like the poor area and the more privileged area soften, because I believe that by having community venues such as ours, for example, we have a community room upstairs which we're hoping to involve all areas of the community, especially children that are experiencing being brought up in the poor areas. It's really, really important. We work together as a community so that there isn't such a big gap.
My name is Luke. I work at Boscombe, which is in Boscombe. I also work at South Coast Roast, which is part of Boscombe. And I've been here nearly 6 years. And I can imagine that Boscombe's been pretty wealthy at some point. I just think that as time has gone on, things have changed, and that kind of wealth is kind of like dropped off, but it's starting to kind of come back. I think Boscombe is segregated, and I think a lot of people look at it that way. So I think a lot of people kind of like on Sea Road, anything past the crossroads towards the beach, that's kind of like the nice area. Everything above that crossroads, that's when it kind of starts to degrade slightly. As far as kind of like the Crescent and Walpole Road go, I don't spend much time there, but I think it's fair to say that a lot of people have kind of like negative connotations, go, it's pretty rough around there, don't go around there. So I think because Boscombe got like top 50 coffee shops in the country, and then got like the list of where it was, and we've been in like Southwest Coffee Guide twice year on year. I think being able to put that out to the public and let the public see that we get those sorts of awards and says where it is, I think though then people can see, oh, that's in Bournemouth, oh, that's in Boscombe, oh, we'll go and check out Boscombe then. And then that kind of will bring people to the area.